At the end of August 1979, the Ramirez family, Marta, 38, Luis, 42, their daughter Ana, 16, and their son Pedro, 12, began a trip from San Luis Potosí, the capital, toward Real de Catorce, a legendary mining town in the Potosí highlands. Luis, an amateur photographer, planned to capture images of the desert cactus and the old Oguerio tunnel. Marta longed to reconnect with the village's quiet. The car, a well-kept green 1971 Ford Falcon, moved along the state highway with the windows down and the dry wind filling the cabin. Ana mumbled along with music on the portable radio, while Pedro flipped through a regional atlas. The sun hid behind gray hills and the air cooled. There were no signs of danger, only an arid landscape, crooked cacti and small abandoned haciendas. The conversation revolved around their stay, lodging in an old colonial inn, and horseback rides along dusty trails while searching for residual gold in dry rivers. They reached the crossroads near Venado, from where only 40 kilometers remained to Real. At 6 p.m., they refueled at an almost empty station and asked for directions. The attendant, an elderly man with a harsh voice, warned them about landslides on the road and water scarcity further ahead. Luis noted it mentally. They returned to the car and continued. They passed a herd of sheep by the roadside. Suddenly, Pedro saw a sign reading Potrero, pointing to a semi-abandoned old settlement. Marta insisted they stop to stretch their legs and eat some warm tortillas. They stopped. The silence was overwhelming. A mysterious absence of people surrounded only ruined buildings and a dry well. Luis took photos. No one appeared. The family returned to the car somewhat uneasy. Ana commented that the wind had taken on a strange sound like a lament. Pedro swore he heard footsteps among the ruins. They ignored the remark at first, but something among them shifted, a sensation of being watched. They got back in and drove on. That is the last confirmed record. No further communication appeared, neither at home, nor on radio, nor by visits. That last stop in Potrero remained engraved in the memory of those who recalled it. The car drove into a stretch of whimsical low fog, and the family disappeared into the desert twilight, unaware that the trip would become an unsolved mystery. When the Ramirez family did not return home the following Monday, the first alarmed were the neighbors. Marta had left the keys to her sewing shop with her friend Rebecca and promised to be back Sunday. Luis was supposed to present his portfolio at a local magazine that same Monday. The absence was unusual, out of character. 48 hours passed with no news. Rebecca called the municipal police. At first, they paid little attention. "They'll be back," they said. But Marta's mother, Doña Celia, insisted gravely, affirming her daughter would never leave her children without warning. The entire family began mobilizing. Federal authorities were contacted to begin a search on the Real de Catorce route. 2 patrols and a civil protection truck set out at dawn on Wednesday along the deserted highway. The search began. San Luis Potosí, Venado, Station 14. They found partial tire tracks near the Potrero turnoff and remains of an extinguished campfire. Nothing conclusive. Volunteers joined in. The community grew alarmed. Flyers with Ana and Pedro's photos were distributed in schools, gas stations, train stations. Their names resounded on local radio. The case caught the regional press's attention. An unsettling detail emerged. No one in Real de Catorce recalled seeing the Green Falcon, neither at the inn, nor at restaurants, nor along the roads. The car had simply never entered the town, as if the earth had swallowed it. On the 3rd day, a group of mule drivers reported seeing a car stopped by the old road to Matawala, near a ravine. But when officers arrived there was no trace. Was it the Falcon? Another vehicle? No one could confirm. The investigation splintered. Meanwhile, Doña Celia stood in front of the state governor's office with a portrait of her grandchildren. She demanded action. The press captured the image, a woman with a weathered face, eyes hardened by pain, who refused to accept "disappeared" as an answer. The federal police intensified the operation. Tracking dogs, helicopters, even a reconnaissance plane. Nothing. Nights in the highlands were cruel and cold. Families in Venado and Potrero slept poorly. They feared something deeper was happening along those roads, an invisible shadow swallowing families without a trace. As days turned to weeks, the Ramirez case stopped being just a file. It became an open wound for the entire region. Travelers began avoiding the road to Real de Catorce. The mystery grew, and worse was yet to come. 3 weeks had passed since the disappearance. Authorities reduced the active search, citing lack of new leads. The Ramirez family remained missing. The case fell into bureaucratic limbo. But Doña Celia did not give up. Accompanied by a young journalist, Esteban Morales, she decided to retrace the exact journey. They began at the gas station where the car was last seen. The attendant vaguely remembered the mustached man and the woman who asked him about landslides. He pointed toward Potrero. They said they wanted to explore a little. Celia and Esteban entered the dirt road. The heat was dry. Dust covered everything. On reaching Potrero, they found only remnants. Ruined houses, corroded power poles, an old school with broken glass. Among the stones, Esteban found a small beaded bracelet with the letters A-N-A. They froze. Celia knelt, recognized it immediately. "I gave it to her the day before the trip," she said through tears. Esteban took photos and brought them to the prosecutor's office. For the first time, there was a tangible object. Yet the experts found no useful prints, no blood, no further traces. Still, the news shook the community. A real clue, however minimal. The discovery ignited new theories. Some Venado residents spoke of a smuggling group that had used Potrero as a hiding out, or of a foreign family that briefly lived there and disappeared in the 1960s. But nothing was official. Authorities neither confirmed nor denied. Esteban, increasingly committed, wrote an article titled "The Family Swallowed by the Highlands." It was published in a national weekly. The case gained media relevance. A reward was offered. Operations resumed, though with no results. Meanwhile, the region's climate shifted. October arrived with cold winds, cloudy skies, and long nights. Potrero's abandonment grew denser, almost funeral. A group of volunteers decided to spend a night there searching for clues. They found only silence, echoes, and a torn photograph pinned to a wall with blurred faces. Luis, Marta. The doubts multiplied. Was it a hidden accident? A silenced crime? Why did no one see the car in the region? Where were the bodies? Potrero became a symbol of fear, a place few dared to return to. And yet the most disturbing discovery would not be revealed until nearly half a century later. In the year 2025, in May, nearly 46 years after the disappearance, a group of hikers from northeast Mexico followed an alternate route toward Real de Catorce, searching for landscapes for their social media. One of them, Ruben Garcia, noticed a metallic glint in a narrow ravine overgrown with brush and rocks, about 10 kilometers from the Potrero turnoff. They approached and discovered the remains of a deteriorated automobile covered in rust and hardened earth. It had no doors. The chassis was half buried. The interior empty. Most shocking of all, the license plate was still partially visible. It began with SLP 71.
Ruben posted a video online. The video went viral. Hours later, authorities in San Luis Potosí confirmed that the number corresponded to the Ramirez family's Ford Falcon. The news shook the country. National media revived the case.
Esteban Morales, now a veteran journalist, returns to the scene. The area is cordoned off. Forensic teams arrive with drones, light excavators, and technical staff. The ravine is difficult to access. It is believed the car fell from a rural road discontinued decades ago, but the strange thing is that there are no signs of a strong impact nor of bodies. The cabin is intact, without blood or prints, only sand and remains of old fabric. Not a suitcase, not a garment, not a photograph. They find a gold ring inscribed with Louis. It is immediately recognized as his wedding band, but the most puzzling thing is the total absence of doors. There are no marks suggesting they came off by accident. They seem to have been removed precisely, as if someone had dismantled them. The case is reopened. The Federal Attorney General's office assigns a special team. Former officers, volunteers, and Doña Celia, now 90, bedridden, are interviewed. Upon seeing the images on television, she repeats, "That is not the end. They are not there." New theories flood the networks. Some believe it was a covered-up execution, others that they were victims of a prolonged kidnapping. Estevan, skeptical but committed, writes, "We found the car, but not the family. The absence remains intact." Searches around the ravine intensify. Teams with ground-penetrating radar and detection dogs comb the terrain. There are no social traces, nor signs of nearby burials. Only rusted shells from .22 caliber bullets are found about 200 meters away. No relation is confirmed. The finding, instead of closing the story, reopens it with more questions. Who lowered the car into the ravine? Why were the doors dismantled? Where are Ana and Pedro? The community relives the fear, and the mystery returns to the heart of the Mexican highlands stronger than ever. With the discovery of the Ford Falcon, the Ramirez case once again takes over the headlines. But instead of answers, new cracks open in the story. A former state police agent, retired and convalescent in Matehuala, claims to remember something. In 1979, a lieutenant ordered us to shut down the search near Potrero. He said there was nothing, but we were not allowed to inspect certain lands. These statements, though vague, are disturbing. Estevan publishes them under reserve. Soon, other testimonies appear. A former soldier recounts that during that period, in lands near Potrero, there were irregular movements, isolated camps, helicopters without insignias. There is talk of possible covert operations, areas restricted for reasons of national security. Authorities deny finding official files. The documents from that era are missing or were destroyed. But rumors grow. An elderly woman, Antonia Chavez, a resident of Venado, breaks her silence. "I saw that car pass by the old trail. It was followed by another vehicle without plates. I remember because Pedro waved from the window. Then they never came back." This statement changes everything. Antonia had never spoken before out of fear. Her son, then a teenager, mysteriously disappeared months later. Is it all connected? The forensic team returns to the ravine. This time, they explore a wider area. They find remains of buried military canvas and fragments of children's shoes. DNA tests are underway, but the environment, time, and deterioration complicate the analysis. Journalists and public opinion polarize. Some see a state conspiracy, others a poorly covered-up common crime, but the constant is the same. The state did not protect, did not search, did not respond. Institutional voids pile up like dust over memory. Doña Celia, still lucid, becomes a symbol of resistance. Her image reappears in protests, on posters searching for other families. "Justice has no expiration date," she says in a video. Thousands share it. Meanwhile, Potrero is declared a zone of historical interest, a way to contain attention, to close the roads. But for the Ramirez family, the story does not end. The family, now extended to grandchildren and nephews, continues demanding answers. In a final interview, Estevan looks into the camera. "We found the car, but the bodies are still absent. The mystery is not in the car, it is in what was never told." And with that, the weight of silence once again falls over the highlands. August 2025, exactly 46 years since the disappearance of the Ramirez family. In Real de Catorce, a small ceremony gathers about 30 people. relatives, journalists, activists, curious onlookers. In front of the old Ogarrio tunnel, a bronze plaque is placed with the names of Luis, Marta, Ana, and Pedro. It does not say deceased, it says disappeared, never forgotten. The climate is dry, the sky clear, but the atmosphere heavy. Doña Celia has died weeks earlier. Her framed portrait rests on an improvised table. Her last recorded words were, "If they are not found, speak every day. Let it be known that we are still searching." The case remains open. The DNA found in the children's shoes is inconclusive. The prosecution's office promises to continue investigating, but no progress is expected. The volunteers who for years searched the area have abandoned their efforts. Time once again imposes itself. Esteban Morales publishes his final article on the case. The headline is simple: "The car appeared, the truth did not." He concludes with a harsh reflection. The Mexican highlands did not swallow the Ramirez family. It was indifference, silence, lack of will. That is the earth that covers them. Ana would be 62 today, Pedro 58. Their faces have been digitized with facial aging techniques. The images circulate on social media, accompanied by unanswered questions. What if they are still alive? What if someone protected or hid them? The family organizes one last symbolic walk from the gas station to Potrero, following the steps that vanished among cactuses and ruins. They leave flowers, ribbons with names, and a printed copy of the photograph found in 1980, now digitally restored. It is suspected that one of the blurred figures in the background could be Luis, but it cannot be proven. The state government, pressured by media attention, announces the creation of a digital archive of historical disappearances. But for the Ramirez family, faith in promises is gone. A little girl, Marta's great-granddaughter, asks aloud during the ceremony, "And what if they one day return?" No one answers. Only the dry wind is heard lifting dust among the hills. The case of the Ramirez family remains one of the most bewildering in Mexico, not for what is known, but for all that will never be known. And so, among memory, suspicion, and desert, remains the echo of a family that set out on a journey with no return.